time, faster than ever, hungry and I'm going to come back and take what is mine, bigger and better. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Saddle, cut to the chase. I ain't somebody who stays in one place. Ready to go, I'm coming to play. You better know I still got something to say. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know that I was born for this. I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know I was born. I tell you I was born for this. Ain't nothing gonna stop me now. I was born for this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to iRacing on LSRTV. We're simulcast on the Community Radio Network. Of course, we came off of our football coverage earlier tonight with the Comets and the Wake Forest Cougars. 20-13 win. Got varsity tomorrow, and all that good stuff is ongoing right now. And, of course, now we prepare for what is the Northwest Racing Series. The trucks are at Watkins Glen International. They're getting set to go for an exciting 55 laps. And, of course, the penultimate race of the regular season. Darlington looms next week before Labor Day break, and then we prepare now for, of course, the playoffs. I am Wesley Outland. We now have another group along here in the booth with us. We have, of course, Terry Radford back with us after a great job last Thursday night in Richmond. And in addition to that, we bring in Tim Moore to our commentary. Of course, as always, manning the buttons in the production truck for Rocket Media and Live Sim Racing TV is, of course, our iRacing's Mr. Charles Wooten. Of course, Terry, we're going to go road course racing, man. We're going to go left. We're going to go right. We're going to do S's. We're going to do bus stops. We're going to do the boot, the inner loop, the chicane, and so much more. Should be a fun time tonight, buddy. And the carousel. I forgot the carousel. But don't forget about the circus.
About to say, you're forgetting one of the best parts of the track is the carousel. There's a lot to unpack here at this racetrack. This is a very well-designed road course and one of the best featured on the NASCAR circuit. And while the real-life trucks do not race here, they should, because this puts on such a spectacle, you would say, especially with the trucks, because you have them a little lower speed, but you're able to carry more speed, if that makes sense for the fans listening at home or watching on YouTube. You don't pack as much punch as the Cup cars or the Xfinity cars, but you can really drive this truck or in the track really aggressive like. And I'm excited to see what drivers like Paul Newton can do or Cole Raz, what these drivers can put on, because they're in the 112 range, Wesley. That's blistering fast compared to what you see across the NASCAR platform.
Tim Moore, I bring you to the spectrum now, buddy. What's your take on what we're going to see here tonight at Watkins Glen? Welcome aboard.
Indeed, I'm glad to be here on LSR TV yet again. And, I'll put it like this here to that, Wesley. Here at Watkins Glen, it's chaotic in these trucks. Compared to the Cup cars, Xfinity cars, you're able to go into these braking zones a lot more deeper, which means we're going to see people being aggressive. The main spot tonight, I think you're going to see the bus stop, the carousel. Those are going to be the main passing points, as well as the last corner. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of bumping and running, as well as into turn number one, if we tend to see guys get a little bit hot. But, Terry mentioned a name, Paul Newton. I think tonight he's the guy that stands out most to me. Obviously, you go all the way back to earlier on where he won a road course race. I believe it was back at Sonoma. He has a lot of speed, the average speeds, which is the big thing here, which to me looked really good during practice. And the big thing here as well, Of course, random caution. It'll come out when it eventually comes out the competition caution, but you almost kind of want to play this race reverse here in these trucks. And as long as Paul can do whatever he can to maintain track position, I think he's going to do what he can for strategy-wise to try to not just win this race in a dominant performance, but also turn around and really put together consistent laps early on and try to expand the envelope a little bit.
Let's take a look at the weather conditions here for today. Virtual sim at Watkins Glen, 79 degrees. The air temp virtual, of course, the track temp is the virtual sim of 81. A little windy, not that much, partly cloudy, mostly cloudy actually. It is very cloudy than it was on Monday when we had the Cup cars here with the sun poking through. Cloud cover affecting these road courses. Terry, I get your thoughts on that. We're going to keep an eye on that. You think it's going to definitely, I think, try to free the trucks up a little bit?
It's actually going to give them a ton more grip, and it's going to make them a little bit more confident. I would say when you go barreling down into turn one here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway, you're going to feel a little bit more. You're going to feel a little bit more in that truck. You're going to want to just push it a little bit more. You might pull a Kyle Larson on Chase Elliott, where you get down there, you might lock that right front up, and these are much different than the next-gen cars because you have a lot of tire lockup. You have a lot of oh my gosh, I lost it in my head. You have a ton of over braking. You can wheel hop. That's what I'm looking for. You're going to wheel hop into these corners, and you're going to push the envelope a tad bit more because while the ambient temperature is 79 degrees, the track temp normally you're going to see around here up to around 90 to 100 degrees. It being 81, that's going to make for some darn good racing.
By the way, we have a new feature here tonight, and if you want to interact with us in the broadcast stream on YouTube, our iRacing on LSRTV feed, let us know where you're watching from, and we will give you a shout-out on the broadcast stream. Of course, one of the new features that we're working on, of course, and while you're doing that, if you're new to the broadcast, give us a like and a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at LSRTV, at Sierra Sports as well, and of course subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. So it's not showing completely by James Vining, but the Catman says, hey guys, I cannot get the in sim chat so I can hear or talk, and it is too important since I'm slow to tell people to go by and I am staying R or left, so instead of causing a wreck, I am going to call it a night. I am terrible at Darlington, so it will probably be Auto Club when you will see me back to racing. Have a good night. I guess you do not need any help in the booth. Milwaukee, of course, across river and a bit northwest from the number 10 of Raz in Lake Oswego, I believe. So thank you very much again. Paul Raz, you just mentioned that, of course, that's James Vining. So there you go. We'll try to find a way to expand it to show the full shout outs in YouTube, but if you try to keep it to a minimum, that might help. Tim Moore, obviously we're going to see some exciting racing. Road course racing just has a completely different animal compared to what we see on the round track side of things for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And again, Terry kind of mentioned it a few moments ago where, you're going to see a lot of wheel hopping, a lot of aggressiveness, especially with these cool temperatures going into corners. But again, the big thing is, again, getting that track position. And turn one's going to be a big optimal point. Obviously, if you wash up wide off the curb, you can rack up a couple X's, which, and a corner cut penalty, which could also be relatively dangerous here at Watkins Glen. But the big thing is here, and one thing I'm looking at least, as qualifying is continuing to go on, I'll tell you what, he's got a lot of poles this season. He's done a good job, especially back at Coda, getting a big one in the road course. But Ryan Bloom right now, I'll tell you what, he is flying, Wesley. He, in fact, has pole by over, and I mean by over 1 second over Paul Newton, who you can argue was, again, an easy favorite based on practice speed. I mean, he's got that thing locked up right now as Dennis Moore just moved up to second.
Yeah, 1 minute, 11 seconds, 1:11:45, if you will, 1:11:45, the pole for Ryan Bloom right now, and officially Dennis Moore just turned a 1:12:47, and to be honest with you, to elaborate more on that, Terry, as Tim said, there's nobody in that 1:11 bracket except Ryan Bloom.
And I mean, it seems like what we saw last week too. Driver comes out and absolutely puts a waxing on the field, but qualifying's a tad bit different than the race because you have to put consistent laps together. You can't just go out and lay one flat, fast lap. But there's a big note. Tire fall off in the sim here is non-existent. You could potentially go this entire race without changing tires. And also, your first lap is probably not going to be your fastest. You might run your fastest lap on lap 20. That's what the tire fall off here does whenever you get some more heat in the tires in the rear.
Well, we're ready to go for the starting lineup. We got 25 trucks signed in, so we're going to go 9, 8, and 8 for the lineup. Let's give you your starting lineup on the pole. Ryan Bloom in the car, number 25, the 111 time, fast time of anybody else. Dennis Moore in the 44. Solid run of the Boise's on the outside of row 1. Row 2 will find Paul Newton. He is always somebody to watch to the road courses, the 27, and Devin West in the car, number 5 to the outside, truck 5. Row number 3 will find Kevin Smith in the 00. Cole Raz will start row 3 on the outside, your top 6. Row 4 will find Dan West Jr. in the 55, followed by Noah Sherwinski in the number 96. And starting 9th, Terry, the 2020 Cup Series champion of the Northwest, Sean Brightsman in the 46.
Yeah, going back there, rolling off 10th is the number 6 of Chris Wright. You got Caden Anderson back there in the 37 machine. He's going to roll off P11. Tyler King in 12th. The 54 of Robert Gamble is going to be 13th. Toby Ritters in the 23 and 14th. Troy Daggett in 15th. And rounding out the top 16, Jeff Stabnow.
And starting 17th, you have John Ottenbacher. To his outside is Gary Nichols. In row number 10, you have Carl Burke and K.C. Garber. In row 11, it's B.J. Kidrick and James Vining, who will round out row 11. In row number 12, it's William Fletcher and Aaron Cooper. And rounding out the field here this evening, it's Frank Harris to round out what is again going to be 24 trucks here at Watkins Glen, Wesley.
That's the way it'll stand out. Of course, one driver notably that has dropped out is, of course, the driver of James Vining. He was committed to run. He has dropped out. That makes now 24 trucks that'll be ready to roll here. Keep it short, not in my vocabulary. Sorry. Thank you, James Vining. Definitely, as the field begins to roll. All right, so let's give you a lap of what is Watkins Glen International. Of course, they are making their way off of what is known as the carousel. Then they're going to make their way to turn number 6 and 7, which is right about now, that 90-degree turn here. So you see them coming off of the carousel. The pace car is coming in. They're not wasting no time. Monday night, the Cup cars made a whole solid lap. They go to at least 2 turns. We're ready. Penultimate race before the playoffs. Green flag at Watkins Glen. We're going to do kind of a radio-style broadcast. If you will, as Paul Newton got turned into the grass. Bottom of the apron. Everybody bonsais to go high to miss him. Paul Newton with the first hiccup of the event. But as I said, we're going to do kind of a radio-style broadcast as right now, picking him up through the S's will be Mr. Terry Radford.
27 gets turned into 1, but he saves it into the grass. He got burned by the 50, I believe that was the 44 of Moore. Get to the back end of him. He saves it. They come up here through the S's for the first time into the bus stop where this is a kind of treacherous. They make contact. There's big contact between the 44 and the 10. He's at the 10's in the grass, and we pass it on over now to Tim Moore.
Yeah, I cannot believe Raz is spun around, and that's a 5-time winner this year as the chaos continuing as Moore fades back to 6th. But as they work themselves into the hard left corners of turns 8 and 9, it looks like right now West will settle into the 3rd position, but it's Bloom 1.5 seconds ahead as they head out the final corner here, Wesley.
Yeah, 7 turns here, by the way. A 90-degree left-hand turn will then become a 90-degree right-hand turn as they work their way back to start-finish. Lap number 1 officially on the board. It's Bloom leading. There's Kevin Smith, Dan West Jr., Sun behind. That works on as they work their way to the S's into turn number 2.
Bloom is absolutely pulled away. That's up to 1.9 seconds over Kevin Smith, who's up 3 positions in that 00, but hard charging behind him. That's the 55. That's Dan West Jr. He's right there. And hot on his heels is Devin West. As they come down here, they come out of the S's, they head towards the bus stop, where now you're starting to see an overtake here. Here comes the 5. He'll make the pass on the 55. move Devin West up to the P3 position as now they're going to go through the carousel.
Yeah, good job there by Dan West getting out the way, being patient, a little bit of give and take in this top 5. But Bloom continuing to pull away with about 2.5 seconds. And you're seeing it right now, a little bit of spread out as they head into the final 2 corners as they work into turn 6. As you're looking at a battle here, it's the battle for 8th place. As it looks like Sherwinski is trying to work on White, or say rather White now working for 7th as he goes to the outside of Anderson into turn number 7.
Works their way back to start-finish line. That battle now continues for position as the Allegiant machine of Noah Sherwinski loses some ground on Chris White as they cross the start-finish line. He's got to try to reel them back in, as all the while a little separation amongst everybody. Remember, there will be a caution sometime between lap 21 and 28. They kind of settle themselves now after a couple of laps to the S's in turn number 2.
It's a good way to bunch the field up and know that there's going to be a caution in lap 21. So if you want to play the strategy, pitting a little bit earlier is not going to be a bad idea. We continue to ride on board right here with Noah in the 96. I'm not going to try to butcher that last name. He goes through the bus stop, no pressure from behind, but he does have a little damaged truck of the 27 right behind him. The 27 of Newton, who has been fast, who started on the outside pole. He's fell back dramatically after making contact to P10, Tim.
Yeah, but he's done a good job making up ground, has Paul Newton, and a little bit of rear damage is going to help, or it's going to hurt you rather. But it'll at least, upset the balance a little bit as Newton works into turn number 6. You can tell he's using all the space as we have a truck off track further on back. But Newton, I'll tell you what, right now, Wesley, he's using what he can. He's trying to make up as much spots as he can before this caution.
Yeah, definitely not a good run for Tim, exactly for Paul Newton, as right now he tries to just be inconsistent in the top 10, if you will, after having those problems on the start with Dennis Moore. By the way, Moore falls back to the number 6 spot as now we see the entry of Newton battling with the machine of King. All this goes on. Ritter's behind. There's the dozen trucks as they work to the S's on the opening couple of laps.
For the fans at home that are listening, if you want to know what's happening in the lead, it's non-existent. It's a 4.5 second lead with driver Ryan Bloom running a 1:11.82 as the fastest lap on this track. He's a full 2 seconds up on this field. We continue to look at this battle, the 21 of King. He's trying to crack into the top 10 to come through the carousel. He's got eyes ablazing for that 27 right above.
And he's trying to do whatever he can as Caden Anderson continues to be on the move. He's now up to the 7th position as he continues to try to battle with White for the spot, but you continue to see him backing up those corners, taking those sharp, aggressive exits. That's what Caden Anderson's most known for, as he's willing to deal as we have a battle for second going to turn 1, Wesley.
Working off of turn number 7, there's also a now battle for turn number 1 as that goes on to the part of the racetrack. Devin West and Kevin Smith, he got a little putt in the shorts there for a moment, got a little cock sideways, dirt tracks it now as he works to the S's in turn number 3.
And the 5 of Devin West is doing a great job up 2 positions to the P2 spot. And he's got his eyes set on the leader as he's starting to work that time delta down just a little bit. It was 6.8 seconds. It's starting to drop as he goes through the bus stop here straight as possible, touching every single rumble strip that he can, doing what he has to do, starts to lower that time down as they come through the carousel for lap number 5.
And it's hard to believe we're only 5 laps in and all this chaos has happened. But right now, I'll tell you what, while Bloom has now made it a 7, making 6.8 second lead as he heads into the final 2 corners. West has done a good job continuing to make up progress. He's keeping that nose nice and clean, and you could tell he's all gripped up to the racetrack right now, Wesley.
Making that turn off the corner as now we got a battle heating up now for the number 4 and 5 position. Dan West Jr. and Sean Brightsman. They work off the 90-degree turn. Right-hander to turn number 7. Back to start finish. Problems for Tidrick's truck. He's now gone off reservation a little bit in the 72. He is now crab walking as he tries to get back onto the race course. This is somewhere between turns number 6 and 7 as he now makes his way down to the straightaway. All this happening now as we see Dan West Jr. trying to hold off Sean Brightsman as they work through the S's.
Brightsman still doing a great job as they went through the S's coming down to the bus stop. You can see him in his shadow. It's not even a half a truck length. It's about a quarter of a truck length. They separate just a tad bit, but there's also the 00. That's Smith. He's right there in front of him, so it's a 3. Make it 4 truck battle from second to 5th, and that's separated by under 1.5 seconds as Dan Smith and Dan West Jr. and Kevin Smith all tried to fend off Sean Brightsman.
Yeah, they're continuing to play hard defense, but don't look further on back now because you continue to look at that battle between Moore and Anderson further on back in 6 as you're on board with Kevin Smith. They're slowly but steadily gaining on this group, and I would not be surprised if this pack becomes jumbled up as they head back into turn number 1.
All of this working their way now back to start-finish line into that first turn. Everybody, for the most part, single file now. 6 laps completed. Everybody stays on the rumble strips, but nobody breaking out of position as Devin West takes it up to the S's.
Yeah, Devin West doing a great job sitting there in P2. He has a 4, make it 7/10 of a second lead over Kevin Smith in 3rd, and he's starting to gap him a tad bit. He got around it, but there is absolutely no contest at the moment, Tim Moore, that Ryan Bloom has been absolutely dominant as they exit the bus stop.
Ryan Bloom continues to keep the nose clean as West is trying to defend the second position, about a 7/10 of a difference. But Bloom, I mean, he is ripping right now a full 1.4 seconds faster than Devin West that last time by. And right now, I think if you're anyone else in the field, Wesley, you're hoping for a call or hoping for that competition caution to come soon. Because right now, nobody has anything for that 25.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's a long way away now as they work off that 90-degree turn at turn number 7. They roar back to start-finish line. There is the driver of Devin West. He is the man in the number 2 spot. Trucks start to get a little bonsai there for a second in the backpack. It is a almost 10-second lead as Dan West Jr. and Kevin Smith almost get together for 3rd and 4th. That goes up to the S's, up the hill, and into the back straightaway in front of you, Terry Radford.
From 3rd to 5th, you can barely put a piece of paper over them. They are almost touching every single corner. It's lockup after lockup for the 46 to not get into the back bumper of the 55. He swings down. The 55 is going to swing down. Let Sean Brightsman get by. They'll go into the bus stop there. 55 wanted no problem whatsoever. And now the 46 sets his eyes on the 00. That's Kevin Smith. And hey, that's +5 for Sean Brightsman in this race.
And Brightsman continues to move as he heads off the carousel and continues to make some progress. And I like that move, by the way, by Dan West Jr. as he just got out the way. As here we go, Caden Anderson trying to peek to the inside. That's for the 6th position as he right now is all over the back bumper of Moore, who you can tell already has used up the left side of that vehicle.
All of this happening now between Moore coming back to start-finish. He's got more in front of him, of course, the 37 of Caden Anderson, who, by the way, swept at Richmond last week, struggled this past week, of course, in the Watkins Glen Cup race, somehow salvaging for another decent run. It's now that battle going on for 6th and 7th spot as they work up through the S's on lap number 8.
Yeah, Caden Anderson was an absolute rocket ship at Richmond last week. But, hey, who are we to say that a 7th-place run and now make that a 6th-place run as they were going to get out of the way. The 44 of Moore, he's going to move. He'll let Caden Anderson go by. He makes it a truck length to 2 truck length advantage going into the bus stop. And Caden Anderson's there, but there's a battle for 2nd or 3rd. Brightsman, he's all over the back bumper of that 00 as they exit through the carousel.
And Brightsman continuing to make forward progress as you see him using all the space he can. He heads back onto the racing surface and he's starting to peak and put the pressure on the 00 as they work towards turn 6. An aggressive entry for Brightsman, but he's right there. He'll peak again into turn number 7, backing up a little bit. He'll try to get the run as we head back down to the start-finish line, Wesley.
On board with Sean Brightsman right now as the field works their way across the stripe here. It's the 4th-place truck. Sean Brightsman now, he's in that 3rd gear, drops down to 2nd gear. He stays in 2nd gear. And now he tries to reel back in using the rumble strips, if you will, the turtles around the racetrack to try to run down Smith. He can't get there. They work through the S's into turn number 3 and 4.
Holds it as much as possible to the driver's side. Now he swings it back left. He's going to try to set this run up inside of the bus stop. He'll break a little bit later. We're still on board here. You'll hear the break. He's a whole lot later on this as much as possible. And then you got to think that the 00 is Smith. He's having to work all the rumble strips possible through the carousel. Man, Brightsman is really able to work it here.
And Brightsman continuing to put on a show as you see him aggressive on the gear off the exit of the carousel. It looks like Smith is opting to go with the higher gears, it seems, through the faster paced corners, which throughout time and time again, you'll see guys try to mix it up between second and third throughout the carousel. And it seems right now that's working for Smith, but for Brightsman, continuing to be impressive. I think he's going to end up working himself into forcing the 00 to make a mistake here relatively soon if he keeps up the pressure here, Wesley.
Yeah, working their way back into turn number 1. Of course, we just saw a comment pop up in our chat box, and you're able to interact with us. And I want to, if we can, producer, put that back up on the screen. Somebody just said, dude, this is so cool. The way that they are doing this LSRTV broadcast sounds like it's MRN. If you don't know what MRN is, it's the voice of NASCAR, the Motor Racing Network. I love it. We thank you so much, AJ Santa Dog Fur Rum. I guess you're a dog fan. Anyhow, they go to the inner loop in front of you, Terry. And actually, we're going to send it off to you, Tim, because they're more closer to you in the carousel between Smith and Brightsman.
And Brightsman continuing to try to put on a show as he heads through the carousel. Wide arc, and he's going to carry as much speed as he can as he gets a little bit loose off the exit. He'll keep it straight and lose about, I'd say, a tenth or two. But here we go. Caden Anderson, he'll pick to the inside for fifth in turn 6, and he'll clear with ease as West again, giving no fight in that 55 as Caden Anderson, he may as well get himself in the mix here for the top 3 as they head off turn 7.
Yeah, this battle working off turn number 7, as it looks like on the cockpit by Anderson. He finally cleared by the machine of Dan West Jr. That was a pretty heated battle going on. And what do you know, Paul Newton has now finally started to climb up the scoring pylon. He's up 3 spots. Last time I saw him, he was in 10th. Cat White, Sherwinski, Moore, there's your top 10. It's still all Ryan Bloom by 12 seconds as they work up the S's.
Yeah, the lead is no contest at the moment. We saw we saw Newton. He went down to the grass into turn 1, went a little bit wide off the exit of turn number 6, and now he finds himself sitting in the 7th place position. He's trying to chase down the 55 of West. He goes through the bus stop here. He makes up a ton of time here as he went from 5 car lengths. It's now 2 car lengths as they go through the carousel.
They're continuing to push as hard as they can as the track temperatures practically continue to stay cool. You're seeing these guys push the envelopes right now and create hard, aggressive racing. But as they head towards turn number 6 again, you see it all spread out a little bit. But folks, I can promise you at home, these guys are giving it their all right now. Is West continuing to fade? But Newton, I'll tell you what, he was at one point all the way back in the 16th position. Despite that mistake early on, Wesley, he's continuing to slowly move himself back towards that top 5.
Yeah, we're watching him now working that way back into the corner, and that's a great observation there, Tim Moores. Right now, I think right now everybody's kind of settling in. They know that the caution's going to fall anywhere between lap number 21 and 28, which is just after halfway or before halfway. We really are not sure when it will be as they work the back straightaway right in front of you, Terry. Everybody just kind of right in the conga line, single file, not trying to make any mistakes.
If I'm one of these drivers, I'm pitting in the next 3 to 4 laps, maybe even 5. I'm going to try to flip this and make that caution benefit me. You're not going to beat Ryan Bloom right now on pure speed because he's still laying down some blistering lap times. He's kept it steady, 12.6 seconds as they work down into turn number 6.
Well, Terry, I don't know about that. I think I'm going to want to stay out to try to one-stop it if he can. But right now, these drivers continuing to give it their all as Bloom has just worked lap number 14, crossing the line with that 12-second lead. But I'll tell you what, I mean, right now, Newton, you can see him on edge, all these exits in the corners. He is pushing in the low gear as they work back towards turn number 1.
Yeah, all this going on now as they come past the start-finish line, back off into corner number 1 and 2. This now, Dan West Jr., Newton battling. This is for 6th and 7th as they work their way through the S's.
It is now opened up to a car length and a half between the 55 and the 27. 27 gains a ton there as they come to the bus stop. The 27 is going to look low. 55 decides he's going to keep playing it. He's not going to roll over here on this one. 27 gets a mediocre-ish bus stop there. Not really been able to work it there. They come through the carousel. It's now spread out. It's 2 truck lengths.
And I'll tell you what, as we have a center around, that looks to be, I believe, the 96 of Sherwinski, who is trying to get some clean track. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have to wait there a little bit as he loops it nearly back around in front of traffic, and he'll continue on back. I believe that's in the 15th, make it now 16th position. But actually, not a lot of damage right there coming off the carousel. Looks to be okay, but definitely a near moment there for the 96 as he continues on towards turns number 6 and 7 here, Wesley.
Yeah, that's where the boot used to be, where you come off the carousel, the entrance of the left-hander turn, the right-hander turn at turn number 6 and 7. They're on the right-hand turn now. Looks like really not that big of a problem on the 96 of Noah Sherwinski. He just lost ground to everybody else. He's in the number 15 spot as now they work their way into the back straightaway. Another battle is brewing. Sean Brightsman, Caden Anderson trying to get after Smith as they go to the inner loop in turn 5.
And Caden Anderson outbraked him perfectly. Brightsman wanted no part of that. Has now moved Caden Anderson. He's up 7 positions. Biggest mover of the race by far. 46 starting to slip back just a tad bit as he was up 4 positions. He goes back from 4th to 5th.
And Caden Anderson continuing to put on the second fastest laps on the racetrack right now. Of course, Bloom continues to be about 6 to 7 tenths faster than the entire field at the moment. But as they work towards turn number 7, Caden Anderson, he is eyes forward right now as he is slowly but steadily cutting in the distance down like Kevin Smith. That's going to be battle for third about a lap or so.
All of this is going on, but now 15 laps complete. It's Ryan Bloom, Devin West, Kevin Smith, Caden Anderson, and Sean Brightsman, your top 5. We're coming up on the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification on the Community Radio Network with the Northwest Racing Series.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Coming up. Welcome back to coverage from Watkins Glen International. We have, of course, Wesley Outlet up here in the booth with you, Terry Radford, Tim Moore. Charles Wooten is on the production with a radio-style broadcast of round number 21 of the Northwest Racing Series, penultimate race of Season 9 in the 2022 season. Points are up for grabs. Spots are up for grabs. As John Brightsman got sideways, he gets loose. Almost smacks into the Armco barrier coming off of turn number 7. He saves the truck. Dennis Moore and others bypass him as he works his way down the front straightaway. No harm, no foul, but as I said, we're probably about 5 laps or less away from that window of a caution flag between lap 21 and 28. Meanwhile, all this is happening with Ryan Bloom picking him up and putting him down, decimating him there, Terry, as they work into the S's. We're watching Brightsman.
16.5 second lead for Ryan Bloom, but Sean Brightsman's tires are lit up like a candle right now. He went to get on the brakes and it was not having it. Back in, kicks around, sends him sideways, but he didn't touch anything. It was a very impressive save for the 46 Sean Brightman as he works down into the bus stop. He's having to be a little bit more shallow here as he has a wider arc off the exit of the bus stop. He goes into the carousel and he has no grip, Tim Moore.
He has no grip right now as we have, one stuck in the barrels.
Whoa.
Or say rather the tire barriers, and unfortunately, that is Ottenbacher, who unfortunately had the chaos there. That's the teammate of Brightsman, needless to say. And he now has had to work himself off the track into the pits and looks to be a DNF, unfortunately. But I'll tell you what, for Brightsman, he's continuing to be a little bit on the edge in terms of handling, but I think he's just going to play it calm, conservative, and wait for that caution to come out. Again, we're slowly but steadily closing in somewhere in that window of 10 to 12 laps.
Yeah, I wonder if we could actually pick up the leader, Ryan Bloom, on our broadcast real quickly. Let's do an overhead view thanks to our drone coverage, and we can give you what is basically a lap, and it works out perfectly because he's working his way off the carousel to the left-hander at turn number 6, the right-hander at turn number 7, and he's coming back to start-finish. For those that are watching, we got to paint a radio picture for you as well. They're coming down to the start-finish line. Of course, they pit to the right instead of the left like usually. They're past the start-finish line. The start-finish line, of course, will then arc to a right-hander, a sharp right-hand turn to turns number 1. That is where they'll then work their way up the racetrack. They'll try to go into the S's now, uphill. The S's, of course, 900 feet elevation. They move into the S's. That's what's happening now. Of course, a tunnel turn as well, or if you will, there's a overbridge there, and that could possibly cause some issues with the cars as too. They come through the woods, if you will, down that part of the backstretch. That's the inner loop of the racetrack, which is turns number 3 and 4. Turn number 3 and 4 will then go to the broadcast position of our carousel, where, of course, at that little platform there virtually is Tim Moore. And then they work into turn number 5. Turn 5 is where the bus stop used to be, the bus stop, the boot of the racetrack. They took that away. Now they work into turn number 6, which is a 90-degree left-hand turn, a 90-degree right-hand turn right there for Ryan Bloom. And that is a lap around Watkins Glen International, close to over 2 miles. It is 7 turns. I wish they'd bring the boot back, Terry Radford, but they've not done it yet. All of this is the excitement that is such an awesome racetrack, as now we watch Kevin Smith. He's moved his way to the number 3 spot, trying to run down Devin West, but still they're close to 20 seconds back to the leader, Ryan Bloom, as they work their way to you, Terry, into turn number 1.
Yeah, when you talk about the boot and the heel coming back into Watkins Glen, that was special times for this famed racetrack that has seen IMSA competition, NASCAR competition, a sportsman race has been run here. There's a ton of competition that gets put out here on this wonderful circuit in the great state of New York. But these virtual drivers out here going to tackle this track. You see Raz making the pass here on Brightsman. Brightsman starting to fade back a tad bit, got loose, spun a little bit earlier going into turn number 7, but was able to collect it. But he has no mechanical grip yet, as he's trying to pray for this caution to come out. He wants it sooner rather than later, because when Raz got around him, he opened it up to about 7 truck lengths in between them, and he goes to the bus stop. Cole Raz, he has no chance of making it there. It shrinks back down to 3.
And Terry, don't forget about this. Cole Raz back on lap 1 was one of those drivers that went spinning in the bus stop, and he himself as well having a pretty solid rebound to this point back inside the top 10. But Wesley, in your lap around, I want to point this out. You picked a real good lap to do that ride around, because Bloom, he expanded his lead by 2 seconds. No, we have a spinner that looks like White off the
yeah, that's Chris White, 2021 Series champion for Cup. Chris White has spun his truck now, just entering to the Geico restart zone. He wishes he could get a caution. Not yet. All of this goes on as we're somewhere between the window of halfway and the yellow flag between 21 to 28. Next time by, whatever happened to Chris White is now Jeff Stab now goes off the reservation. He now makes a hard turn into turn number 1. William Fletcher now battling. This goes on as Noah Sherwinski's in trouble now as they work to the S's in the backstretch there, Terry.
Ton of drivers having issues so far on lap number 21. You've got cars off the track, you got cars in the grass, you got cars that are just smacking the wall. 37's around. Oh my gosh, it's Caden Anderson.
Gotta wonder if Caden Anderson and Newton had got together, or maybe even with Kevin Smith. There was a big battle for position, and all the while, as all of this is transpiring there, out of the carousel, moving into turn number 6, right where the boot entrance is, that is off limits. Caden Anderson is going to fall all the way outside the top 10 with a beaten, battered, damaged truck, and still limps it off of turn number 7. And remember, no yellow flag just yet. Boy, oh boy, I bet you wish they're paying for him. Toby got a podium last year on this track, I believe. He got a 3rd last year. All right, thank you for the Ritters family giving us that information. As now Caden Anderson No doubt about it, Terry Radford. I'm thinking of fast repair on truck number 37. He has to, as there's Ryan Bloom in his own world, working through turn number 6, turn 7 off the carousel. He's getting ready to come back to the start-finish line as he's trying to run down more lap trucks right now. It's Fletcher, and there's the caution flag. Kind of when the yellow flag came out last Monday in the Cup race, it's the same here for the trucks. Lap number 22, and the yellow flag flies exactly, Terry, at halfway at Watkins Glen.
Well, we're going to see what they do here because Caden Anderson was on pit lane at the time of the caution. He got onto pit lane before the caution came out, so it was
I
a
think
clean.
he'll be okay. I think he'll be okay. He came down to the pit lane before they officially threw the yellow flag.
It was clean, but what I'm curious about, Wesley, is if the 37 will be eligible for the free pass, because theoretically he was the first car one lap down at the time of the yellow flag. He was not involved in the situation that brought the yellow flag out, but if he's not eligible because he was on pit road, that's a tough blow for the 37 because you don't get to drive around here. He did not have the pace that Ryan Bloom had to get up here and to pass him to get his lap back, and he'd have to do that Bill Elliott style. He'd have to drive around the field multiple times to get back into contention.
Well, and Terry, I also want to point this out too. Obviously, had Anderson stayed in front, we could have been talking about a different situation there where he could have potentially even gone to the lead had he stayed on the lead lap time and that pit stop perfectly. But it looks like, and I don't think he's going to be able to get the lucky dog. I don't think he was out in time before that caution came out, Terry. So I think you're spot on in that regard. But I do think I think you're going to see Anderson obviously stay out, get the wave around, and I would not be surprised if you see him slowly but steadily work himself back up to the front. But I'll tell you what, a lot of chaos, which makes me worry, Wesley, as this race continues to go on, because you could tell these guys used up their tires, and you have a caution here in lap 22, but we still have over 30-plus laps to go, and we're going to see at least one pit stop under green, based upon my math of what we should see in terms of the fuel situation.
All of this happening now just before halfway as these drivers get ready to make their way on to the pit lane. Remember, the strategy was somewhere between 21 to 28 laps. And now the entire cavalry is coming in to make pit stops. We are going to follow the story with Caden Anderson, as right now everybody is on the pit lane. It looks like they're going to put Caden Anderson back on the lead lap in the 19th position, so it looks like he might have got himself the wave around, and it worked out perfectly for him. As everyone is on the pit lane, it has been Ryan Bloom. Jack's down. Here comes the 25. Work now being done on the left side first, right side second, which is totally different. Here comes the cavalry off pit road. Ryan Bloom exits. Devin West. Here comes Newton. They're almost 3 wide with West, Smith, Moore, King, all going off the pit lane here, Terry Radford, and this will set us up for the second half and obviously to the checkered flag.
Well, I tell you who really benefited from all of that chaos on the lap before the caution came out? Paul Newton in the 27. Remember, fans at home, he started this race P2. He showed speed in qualifying, and while he was about a second off of Ryan Bloom's qualifying lap, I promise you, fans, he's had speed. He has been consistently running lap times comparable to the 25 of Ryan Bloom. Don't sleep on the 27. This might be a 2-horse race to come across the line here at Watkins Glen.
And no doubt about it, pit stops are done, and the restarts should be very interesting as well. From Watkins Glen International, this is the Northwest Racing Series for iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. We are back after a quick commercial break. Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments, and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week.
Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN. Welcome to the Community Radio Network. Follow us always via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the new CRN 87.9 and still anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
Lights off on the pace car. We're getting ready for the restart, and this should be an exciting 30-lap shootout. Welcome back to Watkins Glen International. For those that are watching iRacing on LSRTV, you're listening to simulcast of the Community Radio Network. And by the way, don't forget, tomorrow night we got football for you. Football Friday, football Saturday. Tomorrow night, it is Wake Forest hosting the Comets. Clayton, airtime at 6:30 Eastern Time. Mark Coates, myself, Kim Winslow along for the broadcast call. And then Mark Coates, Kim Winslow, and myself is doing the Jayco Arsenal 4 football game Saturday. Community Radio Network 87.9 of the Triangle of North Carolina, and we are CRN.com. Lights are off. Pace car restarts. Should be exciting. Should be fun. We're looking at 30 laps to go. As right now, this will be definitely something to watch as the field begins to go 2 by 2 by 2. Like Noah leading the animals to the virtual arc into turn number 7. The pace car will get ready to accelerate and drop onto the pit lane. Ready for this shootout. This should be exciting. Terry Radford, they work their way to you back to the S's. As right now, green flag goes in the air. Bloom on the outside. West on the inside. Driver right, driver left. Chaos in front of them as they all stack them up and they work into turn number 1. 3 wide now. Bloom gets the whole shot. He stays single file and they work their way to the S's cleanly into turn 2 in front of you, Terry Radford.
West clears himself for second. Newton clears himself for third. We continue to see battles after battle. You have White back there battling the 24. That's Sabnow. We saw him not too long ago before the caution. He was slid off to the track, but he rebounded. Now you find him at P11. There's a car on the right. You put Sabnow up to 10th. The 00, he's off the track. He was sitting P4. More drivers missed the bus stop. Goes through the exit. Oh my gosh, Tim, they're coming to you and they're coming in hot.
Indeed, they're coming in hot, continuing the battle as you're looking at the 10 of Cole Raz, who continues to move up the board. And surprisingly, a little bit of gap between the top 5. But the big thing right now, as they head towards turn number 6, Bloom at least only a 6, making 5/10 of a second lead as he's barely within reach.
Working their way now off of turn number 7. Coming back off the restart, and quickly Ryan Bloom back out in front again. You want some stats on this driver, the number 25. We'll have them for you here in just a moment, as Ryan Bloom has already put himself with 1 win this year, 5 poles, make it 6 tonight. 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and right now he is the man leading them to the S's over Devin West and Newton, who had problems earlier. He's back up to 3rd on the podium on the back straightaway.
Yeah, Bloom has led every single lap so far, but you see Devin West having a little bit more momentum, having a little bit more speed. He's 7/10 of a second. Now make that 6/10 of a second. Oh, there's a big wreck.
We got
23's around.
Ritters and so many other trucks are going around. It's all right there coming through the S's there in front of you, Terry Radford, and no caution.
No cautions here at Watkins Glen. We see right here what's going to happen. The replay looking here, the 23 is going to go around. And the matter if he went around on the front bumper of another driver, or did he go around single-handedly? Other drivers made contact with him, but the 23 is up in smokes. We get a better look at the replay.
Watch this.
This is a big.
Probably the biggest wreck of the night, of course, and no caution. Ritters fighting for position and trying to get around Sean Brightsman. This is a replay, by the way. We'll go back to live activity in just a moment. As you see Ritters working his way down the front stretch here at Watkins Glen, and then all of a sudden, Terry Radford, they got in front of you coming out of turn number 1, heading into turn 2, up the hill to the S's, and then all chaos ensued for the Thunder Road 23.
Well, he was sitting in P8. He was sitting right behind Sean Brightsman. He comes up in through the S's, goes down in on his way to the bus stop, and he just loses it in between the first driver turn into the right-hander, and he makes big contact with multiple drivers, and they just piled into him there. There's nowhere to go, Wesley, when you're in a very tight area.
Yeah, William Fletcher in the 28. Looks like Nichols also got a piece of it, and I got to give it attaboy. Jeff Stabnow somehow weaseled through there and missed the calamity as they work their way now back into turn number 6, working their way, coming into turn number 7 to start finish. That's Cole Raz, that's King, there's Breitzman. This is going on as they work off turn 7 back to start finish, and it is lap number 28 on the board, this time by working lap 29. 28 laps completed. Ryan Bloom, Devin West, Paul Newton, Dan West Jr., Cole Raz, King, Breitzman, Moore, Stabnow, White in the top 10 as they hit the S's, Terry Radford.
When they went down into turn 1, Wesley, I thought that we would see that the 46 would make a run at King. They were wiggling their back ends like they were shaking their tail feather, but they get it back straight. They go through the S's. They come out. They head towards the bus stop. They're working hard. It's a massive gap all the way back from second. Breitzman gets to the back bumper of the 21 of King. He's working the S's real tight. Tim, they're coming. It's less than a car length in between the 46 and the 21.
It's less than a car length, but you hear the little bit of coasting as they head off the exit of the carousel. Oh, a little bit of loop. There is Breitzman as they head back towards turn 6. But one thing I've noticed up in front, Ryan Bloom, he isn't exactly setting the fastest laps to be exact. Last time by, Devin West was 2/10 faster. I think these guys are doing a lot of saving right now, Wes.
Yeah, they're definitely saving for the moment, I believe, because right now it's 1.10 seconds. You're on board with Sean Breitzman. He goes past the start-finish line. He's in the number 7 spot. He has, of course, got King in front of him. Raz, all those drivers you mentioned, patiently single file. Ryan Bloom now only a second back to Devin West. He's looking for his second win this year in the trucks of the best battle. Is going on in the top 15. Tindrick, Darlington winner of 2020, trying to get around Kevin Smith for position as they work the S's.
00 putting all the pressure that the 72 wants and doesn't want to see. They come up through the S's. It starts to separate a tad bit, but you see the 23 right above them. That's a lap down machine. Just got caught up in an incident, getting loose outside the S's and wrecking a ton. 00 hard break into the bus stop. He gets right to the back bumper of that 72. They come through the carousel. It's really close here.
And for Smith, it was missing Calamity a few moments back going up through that S's that ultimately set him up after a mishap in this restart after the halfway point. But I'll tell you what, he still continues to be aggressive. This is a top 10 truck as he works through turn number 6, and would not be surprised if he's back in there in the next few laps.
All of this going on now as they work their way through the rumble strips, the turtle marks, if you will, off turn number 7. Kevin Smith cocks it sideways as he goes to start finish line. Closing in on 25 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. The lengthy part of the race now settles in. Here comes now Caden Anderson, Jeff Stabnow. This goes on to the S's on lap 30.
What a rebound for Caden Anderson in the 37. Spun around, got stopped, went a lap down, gets the free pass. Welcome back to the top 10 to last week's winner. He gets around Stabnow. Now he puts his focus now on the number 6. That's Chris Wright. He goes through the bus stop, and you have to be careful, Wesley, because if you put a tire off that strip, you could lose a tire rod.
And I'll tell you right now, you're seeing Caden Anderson just put it all out there. It does not look like he's saving gas at all. But I do want to point out, Wesley, further on up in front, West is now, he lost about a half a second off the final corner. He was within 0.5 of a second of the lead of Bloom, as it looks like they continue to run about even lap times.
Yeah, all this happening now as the field works their way out of turn number 7 with Anderson. Now we've caught back up to second spot, and the leader is under attack. This is ready to happen as the Shelton, Washington native is ready to pounce on him like a coiled cobra on his prey. Here, kitty, kitty, meow, meow, meow. Ryan Bloom, Devin West off the back straightaway here at Watkins Glen.
Takes me back to the Big Bang Theory with soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. The number 25's had pressure for the first time in this race. It's down to a second. They go through the bus stop. The 5 struggles a tad bit. The 25 gets through it well. He puts 2/10 on him going into the carousel.
But it's trying to push the pace to try to run Bloom out of fuel, as I think that's the only way here you can get him this evening. At the gap now, about 1.3 seconds as they work back towards the turn number 6. West again trying to go wide, almost got a little piece of the grass, but this time by, he at least cut down the deficit a little bit, making now 1.2 seconds in the final quarter.
Working off turn number 7. There you see Ryan Bloom. It's Devin West. The interval now about 1.5 seconds. So we got problems on the racetrack. Caden Anderson and Kevin Smith, I think they've got together. That's Caden Anderson up ahead off the pace as well. He's lost ground. He falls back in the top 15. Kevin Smith now back on the binders. He now gets to run down Ritters. Ritters is a truck a lap down. All of this happening now, and we got a replay of what happened. Is there's Anderson working through what will be the carousel of the racetrack coming off the bus stop. And then right where the boot entrance is, Caden Anderson lost it. Slams. Who's going to hit him? He's doing a couple of 360s. Ritters misses him. Smith just barely grazes by. I think that might be where he kind of checked up. No harm, no foul. Great work by Caden Anderson. And all this going on is Dan West Jr. about fouled the ball, trying to go after Ritters in the back, straight away to the boot. Well, actually, they're working their way back into turn number 6. All this happening here on the racetrack. Sean Brinksman off course. Here is now Newton. Newton, West. Here comes Raz. Those drivers hold in position. This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And meanwhile, the lead is still 1.2 seconds as there is everybody in the top 5 as they work their way off of turn number 7 back to the Geico restart zone. Cross the start-finish line, closing in on 22 laps to go. They're back at turn number 1, Terry, and they're kind of really starting to get aggressive inside the top 5.
Yeah, the 10 is putting all the pressure that the 55 of West does not want whatsoever. He's getting him into the S's. He's beating him in the bus stop. 10 gets loose. They're coming through driver's right or driver's left. They go to driver's right here. They make this turn. And the 55 has just been so consistent to not chase down the 27 because Newton, he's slower than what it was. By the way, leads down to under a second, Tim.
Indeed, it continues to get down to under a second as you're looking at Cole Raz, a 5-time winner this season, trying to make up some ground for that 4th spot as they head off the carousel. And you see him real good, strong, solid exit. And I'll tell you what, Raz right now utilizing that strong momentum to get himself back in the race after a lap 1 calamity disaster where he ended up getting turned to the bus stop.
All of this happening now as they work their way back across as Dan West Jr. gets checked up. He bonsais, driver right down to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets sideways. Newton, Raz, West falls back in line. He just lost about 2 spots now as they're coming up on 20 laps to go. Next time by, ready for the final field coming off the corner. There is Dan West Jr. We'll see if he's got any damage on the double nickel. I don't think he does as he works through the S's there, Terry.
55 gets sideways. It didn't matter. He loses a spot to Cole Raz, and he sits there in P5. I'm sure he's very content to still have a truck in the one-piece area and not have anything laying on the track. But hey, Tim, 55 still looks hot and ready like the Little Caesars pizza.
Indeed, he still does look hot and ready. I'll tell you what, he can like that space a little bit to try to save a little bit more fuel, because really the question is, again, who can make it, who can't? And that's what I think the game right now between both Bloom and West is a little bit of cat and mouse and trying to push the pace. But here we go as we head towards turn number 7. The battle, at least for 3rd, picking up between Newton and Raz.
All this happening now as they work their way back to start-finish line. It is now officially 20 laps to go. Newton, remember the issues he had in the race? He's now settled himself on the podium to 3rd. He's trying to run down Devin West. Oh, and Devin West is now 1.6 seconds back to Ryan Bloom. If he's playing possum trying to save, it is time to go, and it might be time to go now if he wants to win this race. It has been all Ryan Bloom as he works his way to the S's, and they're 2nd and 3rd behind him.
Yeah, you don't want to be $1 short here at 46. That's Brightsman. He comes down pit lane. Looks like he's maybe coming down for a splash and go, and that is absolutely right. Splash and go for Sean Brightsman in the 46. He falls back, relegates himself to the 15th position, and you got the 99 is going to be right behind him. That is almost a lap down machine. He is 20-plus seconds off of the 46 as he comes around the corner. Not a whole lot of cat and mouse being played at the front. It's, oh, hey, welcome in to the 27 of Newton. He's under a second to the race lead now as they come into turn number 7.
Working their way now back a part of the racetrack, back to start-finish line. All this happening now as the machine of Newton's truck got a little sideways. Here comes a battle down for second spot. P2 up for grabs. Devin West, driver right. He now just lets Newton take it. Newton moves his way to the number 2 spot. Devin West falling back, and now can Newton show his muster of momentum to run down Bloom as they work to the S's?
Newton was the second fastest driver on the racetrack as last time by, and I'll change that, sorry. He was the fastest driver on the racetrack that time by. It was a 1:14.7 for the race leader Ryan Bloom. It was a 1:13.4 for Paul Newton. The 27 is on a mission. He must be good on fuel because he was not running anywhere close to that pace, Tim Moore.
Indeed, but the question is, again, is he trying to push the pace? Is Newton nearly loses the rear end into the carousel? He'll now fall about 2 tenths further on back, about 1.2 seconds off the lead as they work towards turn number 6. Again, I think the only way you can beat this 25 is put the pressure, and right now Newton's doing just that as he is on rails right now. Multi-time winner this season, especially back at Sonoma.
Everything he needs to do is going perfectly now for the driver of the number 25, Ryan Bloom, holding on to that top spot, but not for long. The cavalry is coming, and they are growling and snarling here at the Glen. They send it to turn number 1. Bloom, the lead, now cut to almost under a second if he can try to get there. It's Newton now. He's going to carry Raz and West, and maybe some drafting going on as they try to be teammates, if you will, like a Talladega Daytona drafting teammate session to try to run down Bloom. 2-3 trucks are better than one there, Terry, as they work off 2.
Well, in the first opening stint, they put the Tigers in the cage, and Ryan Bloom, he took off running when they opened the gate. Well, now he's having to take off running for a different reason because the 27's hot on his heels. They go through the bus stop there into the carousel. It's 7/10 of a second is the gap. Now make it 6.
And Devin West trying to do what he can to make up the ground. He as well is faithful, but he ran a 1:15.45 last time by after losing some time. But again, trying to be conservative. Maybe he's not that good in the fuel number as he works towards turn number 6. And there we go. Lead now 7/10 of a second as they head through turn 7.
All of this working on into turn number 7, under 20 laps to go. You saw just a moment ago on the top right, the orange truck of Tyler King. He got a little sideways. He lost a little bit of ground from the drivers of the top 5. That is, of course, King. More behind them. All of this going on as they go into turn number 1. It's Bloom the leader, 1 second now, under a second. Newton is starting to reel him in like bait on the hook as they go to the S's. And we still ride on board with Devin West, who's in 4th.
Still the fastest driver on the racetrack that time by was Paul Newton. The 6 of Chris Wright, he comes down pit lane, must not be good on fuel, should be a fuel-only stop here, but it's now 3/10 of a second, now 4/10 of a second. They're going through the bus stop here into the carousel. This time delta, it keeps jumping up and down like a pogo stick. Tim, it's getting close here between the Bronco machine and the 27.
It's getting close, and again, the pressure picking up as you see all the space being used up by Newton. He's been doing that all evening long, trying to carry as much speed as he can as they work into turn number 6, about 6-7 car lengths away. Here comes Newton. He's under 5/10 into turn number 7.
He works his way now out of turn number 7. It is go time here at the Glen. 16 laps to go. Raz is also running those 2 trucks down. Bloom looks to driver left, looks to driver right, starts to accelerate. 3/4 of a lead now as they sell it back into turn number 1. Newton cannot reel him in as they work their way through the corner, off the turtles, into the S's, and that battle ensues up the hill to the S's.
Well, it's getting hot in here like a Nelly song in the early 2000s because Newton doesn't care about anything else. He sees a checkered flag. He sees a win at Watkins Glen, and the only thing in between him and checkered flag and glory is the 25 of Ryan Bloom. It's 0.3 of a second into the bus stop. Now make it 5. They hit the rumble strips. They continue. It's pushing wide. It's pushing right. 27, close it into the carousel.
And he's doing a good job trying to use that momentum of the draft as they head off the carousel again. It's been the back half of the course that Newton's been fast. Here we go. 3 car lengths in the difference as they head back towards turn number 6. Newton trying to peak. He's now within 2 as they head off turn number 6.
Here they come off of that right-hander now, the left-hander. 90-degree turn, the right-hander now at turn number 7. Everybody keeping an eye on this battle for the lead. It is the best battle that is on the racetrack. Everything has simmered down behind them. It is 15 laps to go. Bloom, Newton, one of the greats of road course racing, Paul Newton, the 427. Remember, he got tore up earlier in the race there, Terry. He is right back in the catbird seat looking for the checkered flag if he can get it done as they go to the S's.
That caution was the 27's best friend as they come through the S's. They're making the right-hander right here. They're sweeping it. You see we're on board with Ryan Bloom. He's in 4th gear. We'll see how early he backs it down for the bus stop. But I promise you, Newton in the 27, he's digging deeper. He gets super close. He's much straighter through this. But Ryan Bloom put the gas down there and went from 0.4 to 0.6 in a matter of a second, Tim.
And Newton didn't like the entry so much as this time he keeps it nice and tight, barely heads over the rumble strip and makes it about a 0.5 of a second difference. As you look back at the replay of them going up through the hill, you can see him utilizing that draft, Wesley, to try to get within reach. I think it's going to come down to the bus stop in the late portions of this race.
By the way, the last time that there was a win for the driver of Ryan Bloom, guess where it came from? COTA, the COTA truck race on July 7th. For the driver of Paul Newton, who has 2 wins this year, Road America, Sonoma, the battle of the road course aces as we move to the home stretch with 14 to go. They're up to the S's now.
Yeah, you put, let's like put 2 AJ Allmendingers or Marcus Ambrose out here on the track, or maybe a Kimi Räikkönen going out here who raced in the Truck Series and the Cup Series Sunday with marvelous road racers and expertise like no other. Last time by 1:12.9 for the leader of Ryan Bloom, 1:13.0 for Paul Newton. A better bus stop right there for Ryan Bloom as they go through the carousel. Newton, he's slowly starting to inch it back in. It's still 0.6 of a second.
And indeed, it is 0.6 of a second as you see him exit the corner. Bloom trying to do what he can, but right now, the gap pretty much spread on out. About 0.5 of a second as they work towards turn 6. Now Newton again, aggressive into the entry of turn 6.
The battle continues of cat and mouse. The mouse goes this way, the cat grabs him with the paw. He goes to the left, to the right, he grabs him with the paw. Finally, somebody's gonna smash him. Here comes Anderson. Anderson now checks up and gets around Stabnow. This is for 8th and 9th position as that works off turn number 5. Going into turn number 6 here. There's that left-hand turn. The right-hand turn awaits them. We're 13 laps to go here at the Glen. Another great battle going on besides for the lead as they work their way back to start-finish with 13 laps to go. It's Ryan Bloom, Paul Newton, Cole Raz, Devin West, Tyler King, Dan West Jr., Dennis Moore. They just flip-flop for position as West had Morgan around him. Anderson and Stabnow. Tendrick top 10. They work out of turn number 1.
You can see Caden Anderson having a rebound from self-inflicted wounds as he comes up through the S's. He gets around Stabnow. Stabnow didn't put up a fight. Stabnow was happy to be right here in the position that he's in. He's missed some crucial wrecks over the past couple incidents here on the racetrack. But for the 24, he told us last week. He told people pre-race, "This is not my style of racing. I'm just happy to be in contention." He comes through the bus stop and he's wheeling that 24 truck, Tim.
He's wheeling it right now as he continues through the carousel and Stabnow trying to work himself up to Caden Anderson, who has had a storybook of a day, spinning twice, wrecking twice, still in the top 10. But here we go. We're looking at the battle. Here comes the 5 of West. He'll work himself to the inside of Cole Raz into turn 1.
Off of the corner. working now back into the turn as all of this happens now between West, Raz, third and fourth, just like for the leader, heading their way to the back straightaway, Terry, with 12 to go.
Yeah, West gets around Raz and he pulls away very quickly at 7/10 of a second. Now make it 6/10 of a second for your race leaders. They're really getting at it. In this battle, they're only about 3/100ths off of one another as they go around this corner, Tim.
And they're trying to do what they can. Cole Raz trying to do what he can to work himself up to the third position. But right now, that 5 starting to pull away off the carousel. It's about a 5, make it 6 car length of a gap as they work back towards turn number 6. But how about King back at the 5th position? He's getting to this mix for third relatively soon as they keep it up.
All of this happening now as they get ready to hit that turn number 7, right-hand turn or 90 degrees. They come back to start finish. It is coming down to 11 laps to go. Devin West, Cole Raz, King right there behind him. That is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But the battle for the lead is now at 3/4 of a second. Bloom under attack by Newton. This all going on behind them. Pick your poison. A great battle down the home stretch as they work into turn 2 to the S's.
Well, the race is on, and Bloom better play some good defense because Newton, he's coming for the win. You see him going to the bus stop here, a straight entry for that 25. He swings it wide. 27 swings it wide. A tighter entry into the carousel there, Tim. The 25 is finally showing some more dominance.
He's showing some more dominance with 11 laps to go. And while it's a 1.1 second gap, again, the question continues to remain, will you be good on fuel or will you have to come in and take fuel only? Right now, Bloom continuing to expand that gap as they work again towards turn 6 further on back. Here's Raz and West trying to make the move. Again, West continuing to stay in front of the 10, but these two continue to battle the 7, Wesley.
Got to remember that also when the race finished, of course, on Monday night, driver ran out of fuel, had to give him an assist to celebrate, of course, when Lake Peterson picked up the win. Lake Peterson, Cole Raz had to help coast him around because actually he ran out of fuel. Coming to the checkered flag, going into turn number 1. He couldn't even do the Northwest high five salute. All this is going to be strategy. All of this going on now as they work their way to the S's, and 10 laps to go. We're single digits next time by, and trucks are pitting like Jeff Stapp now with 24.
Well, Wesley, if they're playing cat and mouse, they're doing a hell of a job doing it because they have been out there matching each other's lap time lap after lap. It was a 1:13 flat for Ryan Bloom. It was a 1:13.4 for P2 Paul Newton, a 1:14.2 and a 1:13.9 for Devin West and Cole Raz. Your top 4 running within a second of one another. So if they're playing any type of possum, Tim, they're doing a really good job.
Well, it's a matter of cat and mouse, like you said, but when do you go? It seems for Bloom and Newton, it's giving it all a go right now as they're decided by about 1.2 seconds. But this battle for third continues to be relatively even. West just can't get away from the 10 Raz.
Yeah, this is a fairly hot battle as they work across the start-finish line. We are now in single digits, 9 laps to go. Devin West, Cole Raz on the broadcast. That's right there, coming out of turn number 1, going to turn 2 up the hill. While this happens, lap traffic is also in their way. And this is something that's going to be greeting the leaders, Bloom and Newton, also as they hit the back straightaway.
Nothing's going to spell trouble more for Bloom or Newton or West or Raz than a lap truck getting in their way at an unopportunistic time into a braking zone. Out of a very heavy throttle corner, you see 2, 3, maybe 4 trucks ahead of the race leader that he's potentially going to put a lap down, and he's going to catch them, Tim, maybe into turn 1.
And Bloom's going to try to be calm, cool, and calculated because you're on road courses. If you get stuck behind a lap truck at the wrong time, you get stuck to their pace, and it means you can lose about a second or so. But right now, he's expanding that lead to about 1.6 seconds.
Ryan Bloom reeling in lap trucks. He's about to overtake a truck that had problems earlier that had to disconnect because he got hung up on the wall, Armco barrier in the boot. Of course, off the carousel, that was John Onenbacher. This is going on. This lap truck might also hold up Bloom, and Newton's licking his chops, ready to go after this opportunity as they hit the back straightaway, Terry. No, Unbacher obliges and says, have at it, boys. The race is yours.
He moves out of the way before they get to the bus stop, and it only brings the lead down to 1.2 seconds. They go through the bus stop there. Ottenbacher's going to move out of the way. He'll go to driver's right. He'll get on up off the racing surface, allow Newton to continue to work through this carousel. Very classy move.
It's a classy move, but if you're Newton, you're almost hoping you just stayed straight in the bus stop to try to, arc yourself out a little bit in the carousel. But right now, Newton again, that time, at least through turn 6, he gained 0.5 of a second on Bloom as they work back towards turn 7.
And here they come, back to start finish line. The laps are winding down. It is now 7, count them, 7 laps to go. Here comes Bloom. It's around close to 15 miles remaining. Bloom, Newton, West, Raz, King, the top 5. There's the battle for the lead. This going on behind them, a lap truck in the way. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, nowhere in sight. Have at it as they go to the S's, Bloom and Newton.
Almost a full second faster that time for Paul Newton in the 27. He's slowly bringing this down. It was 1.2, 1.3 at one point. I think the leadership, he's clutching. There's a block for the lead. He goes to driver's left, driver's right. He swings it there. They go into the bus stop. The 25 sends that sucker in there. Oh my gosh, that got close, Tim.
Indeed, it almost got very chaotic into the bus stop, but it seems like Bloom needs to be conservative. He doesn't like his fuel numbers. They head off the carousel. It's about 4 car, let's make it 3. Closing in towards 2. Newton again using the draft into turn 6. Let's see if he'll be aggressive back towards turn number 7. It's about a 3 car length gap.
Tries to throw it out there as it's now about half a second less than that as they work their way off of turn number 7. Bloom had an opportunity, was Newton. He fails. He's got to try to reset, recalculate, re-strategize, and make a move. He's going to have a big run on him into turn number 1, but still, Bloom clears them. Go Broncos as they work the S's.
Yeah, that Broncos machine's doing a great job here playing defense. He had to play it very hard going into the bus stop. You saw the 27. He looked driver's right, looked driver's left, tried to go, and you saw the 26 or the 25 working left and right to try to make it. It's down to 2 car lengths as they go to the bus stop. We'll see it's 1. He's on the back bumper. He swings to the right. He tries to block, shutting the door. 25 slams it shut on the 27 as they come through here. It's going to 5 to go when they come through this carousel.
And Newton continuing to be trying to put the pressure on Bloom. But the big thing is, at some point, he's going to take that run and try to move him around. And here we go, 1 car length. Here comes Bloom trying to block. Newton looking to the inside. They're moving left. They're moving right. Newton trying to send it in deep. They're nose to tail off turn 6.
Here they come. They work their way off of turn 6. The right-hander in turn 7 awaits them. They wait for 5 laps to go. It is the battle we've all been waiting for here at the Glen. Lap traffic in the way, but Bloom and Newton going at it again. Driver right goes Newton. Bloom stays to the inside. He can't clear him. They run each other back down into turn number 1. Cut the interval to about 1/4 of a second as they work now off turn 2. Heading that way to the S's. Someone's got to slip. Newton now trying to find the right opportunity to capitalize.
Yeah, Bloom is blocking like an offensive lineman right now, going left and right, every which way to stop Paul Newton from making this pass, from making the overtake here at Watkins Glen. They come down here, they come to the bus stop. We'll see what the 27 can do. This has been the weakest point so far of this racetrack for the 27. It's weak again. He loses some time, but lap car Tim through the carousel.
Will Bloom trying to use the lap truck as a pick? We'll see off the carousel. Looks like the lap truck will bunch. Oh, it's loose, almost loses the rear end. That's going to be about 8, make it 9 tenths of a loss as they work back towards turn 6. That's a little bit of breathing room for Bloom as it allowed him to save a little bit more fuel.
That might be just what the doctor ordered for the driver of the number 27. As Bloom slips, Bloom now crossing the line. Newton slipped. He got sideways. Gotta wonder if he might be trying to cut the truck off, trying to conserve fuel, and it stalled a moment. He gets back going again. The interval is now almost at 3/4 of a second. He better go. He better go now. 4 miles remain. Less than 10 miles here at the Glen. Ryan Bloom, the leader, going to the S's with 4 to go.
starting to streak again, and you start to see a little bit more. I believe that this leader here, Ryan Bloom, he's clutching, because when he comes through the S's, he starts to slow down quite a bit. Newton goes, he peaks driver's right, not going to make it happen there. We go on board here with the race leader. He's got a mirror full. It's 6/10, 7/10. The bus stop has not been the place that Newton, I believe he might have slipped off course, Tim.
I think he did slip off course. He took a very narrow entry and almost hit the inside barricade going into the corner. But the big thing is for Bloom, you got to wonder at some point, while he may be close on fuel, you've got to think about breaking the draft. You cannot let Newton get in reach going up that hill. And it seems like every time he's had the opportunity, time's quickly running out. We're coming to 3 laps to go.
They work their way to the start-finish line, coming to the cross for the finish now. It's going to be Bloom. It's going to be Newton. Newton and Bloom have both showed some signs of weakness. There's more lap trucks in their way. As right now, it's clean air, though, as they work off of turn number 1. There's the battle for the lead. We catch everything else behind them. It is nothing going on except right now, ride and drive between Raz, West, King. Nobody jumping out of line inside the top 5. They're comfortable settling in, and the battle is for the lead as here comes now Paul Newton going to the bus stop.
Oh no, side by side, the bus stop doesn't work very often. It's not going to work here. Oh, he does. He shoved him out of line. He shoved him out of line. The 27's there. He takes the lead in the carousel.
And Newton will clear temporarily. The question is for Bloom, does he have the fuel and can he answer back? Is he trying to save a little bit to push the pace of the 27? Doesn't look to be the case. Make it now 9 car lengths. A full second for Newton as they work towards turn 6.
All of this happening now as they come to the line. A couple of more laps remain. 2 to go as they work now off of turn number 6. The right-hander in turn number 7. Bloom awaiting. Now Newton in the lead, and he has said bye-bye. He is in stealth mode. 2 to go. Newton, Bloom as they head off into turn number 1. And while they've done that, they've also cleared by that lap truck. All of this going on. Newton, Bloom jumps the course. He loses more ground on Newton, and it is not at the right time to make this mistake. As we got a battle going for third also as they work their way into turn number 1. This is Raz. This is West. They're getting impatient. It's time to go here at the Glen as they work through the S's.
It's absolutely time to go, and for West, he has to get back by Cole Raz as the 10 got around him, and that was multiple laps. They have flip-flop positions like women change shoes. Every one of them wants to figure out which spot they want to be in, and for the 5, he's been consistently one of the faster drivers. He's 2 100s faster. They enter the bus stop. 5 breaks a little later. They bounce over the turtles. They go down here. 1 takes a higher exit. 1 takes a lower exit. Tim, they're coming to you, and they're nose to tail.
Indeed, they're nose to tail, and right now for Raz trying to maintain that position, getting this evening, and he's trying to do what he can to secure yet another top 5 result. But it's about a 1 car length. Make it 2 car length gap. His own witness being the better. Bloom not good.
Bloom is pitted, guys. White flag in the air. The CRN 1 to go. Final time here at Watkins Glen. Ryan Bloom, I believe, has ran out of fuel. He has to pit. Final lap. 1 lap shy. Paul Newton's race to take into turn number 2 for the final time up near the S's.
$1 short and a half a cup of gas separated him from going into P number 2, kind of like Dale Jr. back in the Coke 600. Many moons ago, but this spells nothing but happiness. You can coast now, Paul Newman. Put the clutch on, put the afterburners on. You did your job. 27 to the carousel for the final time.
And Newton trying to become a 3-time winner this season and continue the road course dominance. He heads off the carousel, and as Terry said, he can practically coast it on. Does he have enough fuel? We'll see. Looks like he's slowing a little bit, but as he heads towards turn 6, just 1 corner to go.
Paul Newton had problems earlier in the race, you remember? At the start of this 55-lapper, he was in the wreck of the fence on the opening lap in turn 1. What a way he comes back. 3rd win of the year. The road course king of the Northwest wins tonight at the Glen. And also Sonoma and Road America. And tonight at Watkins Glen, he gets his 3rd win of the year. Sheer domination. Not tonight like we saw on Monday by Lake Peterson, also in a fuel strategy. Ryan Bloom out of fuel on the last lap. You gotta wonder, he put too much pressure on him. Paul Newton did on Bloom. He ran out of fuel, and Newton is gonna celebrate in victory lane. Terry Radford, he's on the backstretch on the cool-down lap.
Well, Wesley, if you think about what Newton did there, he set back for about 5 to 7 laps, allowed the leader to save. He saved himself. And then when he said, okay, number's good, flip the switch, put pressure on him, he allowed the leader and Ryan Bloom to do whatever it took to stay in front until it was a moment too late. And Tim Moore, he comes through this carousel a little slower than he has before.
I'd say a little bit slower and probably out of gas. Well, maybe not. He's continuing to coast on, maybe trying to save a little bit for a burnout. But for Paul Newton, I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
He's out of fuel, guys.
Yeah, he is out of
He's
gas.
out of fuel, guys. He has ran out of fuel. Shades of what happened at Lake Peterson after he crossed the line. He at least was able to get all the way to the back straightaway. Paul Newton is going to run out of fuel, as right now Tyler King is given an assist, if you will. Great sportsmanship to the number 21 American touch-up Pills Oranges Beaver State race and entry. And look at the results as we still continue to see the assist of King helping Newton get around the victory lane. Paul Newton will pick up the win. Cole Raz is second. Devin West third. Tyler King is fourth. Of course, 11 seconds back from Newton to Raz because what happened to Ryan Bloom? He had ran out of fuel. Dennis Moore fifth. Dan West Jr. sixth. Ryan Bloom will end up seventh. Noah Shawinski, Chris White, the top 9 here at the Glen.
John Breitzman rounds out top 10, 49 seconds off the race lead with Casey Garber finishing P11. Caden Anderson, after 2 spins, rebounds himself up to 12th. Jeff Stabnow having to pit, still comes out with a top 13 finish. And you go right here for 14th. You have B.J. Tidrick finishing 14th. And Tim, send it on home to the end.
Indeed, William Fletcher comes home 15th. Troy Daggett 16th, the first truck 1 lap down. Toby Ritters comes home 17th. Gary Nichols 18th. A solid top 10 day, but the result did not show. John Ottenbacher, we saw the chaos happen to him where he got stuck in the tire barriers. He finishes 2 laps down, 19th. Kevin Smith, after missing Calamity, catches some very, very bad luck. He comes home 20th, 21 laps down. Robert Gamble, 21st, 28 laps down. Frank Harris, 41 laps down, 22nd. Aaron Cooper comes home 23rd. Carl Burke rounds out what was a 24-truck field at 24th. And of course, James Vining, who did not run a lap here tonight, he comes home 25th.
Let's take a look at the race analysis for tonight's event here at Watkins Glen. Bottom left of the monitor, 1 caution flag, obviously. 3 caution laps, 1 lead change, and that was the one where it counted the most. Paul Newton gets around Ryan Bloom, the pole truck, to pick up his 3rd win of the year. And when we come back, it'll be the finish line post-race wrap-up. We will grab a word with the top 3, including Paul Newton, Cole Raz, Devin West. Stay with us. From Watkins Glen International, this is the Northwest Racing Series Trucks on iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. Welcome back to coverage of the Northwest Racing Series here tonight as we get ready for the finish line post-race wrap-up. I'm Wesley Outland, Terry Radford, Tim Moore. Great jobs, of course, calling the action from the inner loop to the S's and the carousel. And now we get ready to grab a word with the top 3 on the podium. And, of course, Tim Moore is standing by with Devin West on 3rd on pit road.
Thank you, Wesley. I'm here with Devin West in a top 3 performance here tonight. You made it on fuel, and you found yourself battling throughout the evening with Cole Raz there in that second half of the race, battling for second. Obviously, I know you'd much rather preferred to finish second despite not being able to battle for the lead, but how chaotic was it there for that final restart, especially after seeing chaos at the start of the race on lap number 1?
Yeah, I was happy to be where I was at, up in, I think, second on the restart. I mean, I had Ryan in front of me, and Ryan was, I mean, I don't even know how he's that fast. It was crazy. So I trusted him, and I just tried to get to the S's, get through the first few laps, and then I tried to save much as I could. Ended up saving too much. I had, like, I don't know, half a lap of fuel left, which kind of was a bummer, but that was fun. I enjoyed it.
And for you now, I believe this is your 7th start of the season. Of course, you had a win as well earlier on, but what's the focus for you moving forward? Because a little bit of momentum here at a road course, and we're coming towards the playoffs where, you know, races for a lot of others become a lot more meaningful. What's your goal moving forward, coming towards the closing laps of these seasons?
Like you said, everybody else that makes the playoffs, these races count for them. Where, I mean, I have like 8 starts, so it doesn't count for me. So I'll be nice to them, respect their races. But other than that, I mean, if I can win, I'm gonna try to win, right? I mean, I'm not showing up just to putz around. So unfortunately, I have speed in most places we go. I'll try to keep the momentum going, and yeah, I don't know, have fun. That's the whole goal here. So.
And you mentioned saving a little bit of too much fuel in the question prior, but anything you could have done differently here? You know, maybe to get second, or even try to get within the zip code of the battle for the lead.
Well, I was with Ryan there for a little bit, and so I knew he was saving because there was no way I was just going to stay with him on raw pace. So I started to save a little bit as well. Saved probably more than I needed to. Let Cole by, let Paul by. I'm getting a little too far ahead, so I tried to use that back up. I got back to Cole, got around him, and then started saving him, trying to back him up a little bit so I could make sure that I can make it, and then run hard at the end. He ended up running a little harder than I did, got back by me, and then I just trucked away a little bit and just didn't have it at the end.
Hey, one last question for you. Any shout-outs here this evening?
Yeah, just obviously sponsors, back to Web Solutions, and Kenny's Custom Hardwood, Merciless Distributing. Then obviously LSRTV, broadcast is always great, and Jeff, Sean, those guys do a great job. Put in a lot of work each and every week, so appreciate to them.
Well, Devin West comes home with his 4th top 5 here in the season. However, we move over with our points leader and 5-time winner of Cole Raz. He's with our very own Terry Radford.
Well, Cole, you finished P2, and there for a while it looked like P3 might have been the position you would have set in, but did your eyes maybe light up when you saw that Ryan Bloom ran out of gas? Was you thinking that the 27 was going to run out too?
I was kind of hoping so. I feel like they had such a fast pace, and you know, I ran into issues on lap 1 there and made a pretty big mistake, spinning it out through the bus stop. So it was just kind of climbing out of a hole I dug myself. So I mean, to come home with second is like a gift, I feel like. So definitely it wasn't a second place truck on speed, but I feel like we could have flirted around the top 5 somewhere and found our home. But big congrats to Paul. I mean, he played that really smart, and definitely thought he was going to run out, but he proved me wrong.
Well, you're the winningest driver so far this season. You've done a great job at it. You're the points leader as well. This is big momentum for you going into next week. Is there anything that you feel like maybe cost you tonight? And what are you most looking forward to for the remainder of the season?
I mean, it's hard to pinpoint one thing that cost us tonight. Definitely looping it out through the bus stop didn't help my case, but I feel like we've struggled this season on our road course setups. It's just kind of out of our realm and knowledge. So everything that you do on the road course, at least to me, just seems backwards versus the circle track program. So, you know, I'm going to be pretty happy once we get back to our 1.5 mile and short tracks and beyond that. So I think that'll be our strong suit as a team. But moving forward, Darlington's a good place to me. I really enjoy that racetrack, and you know, we'll see what we can get going there next week.
Well, you got anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors out there?
Yeah, big thank you to LSRTV, Northwest Racing Series, Magnus Rear Ends, McGonigal Race Engines, Ernest Performance Shocks, Whiskey Ridge, the Master Ranch, Wells Johnson, everybody that helps us out on the real side of racing. Really appreciate your guys' support, and Kate Anderson Racing, Kate Anderson Designs, the whole team tonight. You know, we kept digging, and happy to come home second.
Well, Wesley, that's P number 2 and the number 10 machine of Cole Raz.
And now we go to victory lane. He'll pick up his 3rd win this year in the Truck Series. I call him the road course king, if you will. Struggled in the start, ran out of fuel after taking the checkered flag. Shades of what Lake Peterson did, of course, on Monday night in his race win. But I'll tell you what, though, Paul Newton, redeeming yourself from the start, what happened and what's it feel like to get this win here, man, and carrying a lot of momentum at least to get you another win and, of course, in the run to the playoffs and a championship on the balance?
Yeah, the thing about turn one, I don't know. I think I might have taken it a little more easy than some of the guys behind me. I think they're a little eager to get going on this fun road course track, but it kind of played out the same way as Road America. I got into some trouble on the first lap at Road America, but I knew that comp caution was always going to come around. So as long as I could keep it running to the comp caution, there's always a chance to get that fast repair, get caught back up to the field, and have a shot at it. So yeah, I thought we were all shooting for second place today. Ryan pretty much had the pace.
Besides Cole Raz with 5 wins, course runner-up finish tonight. 3 wins for Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson with 3, and now Paul Newton, you joined him with 3. You've also climbed up in the points. You're now in the top 5. And what a battle there, as it is just mere 79 points or 66 points heading into the final race. And, of course, we're off next Thursday night for Labor Day. What do you think we're going to see at Darlington whenever we get back together for that final race before the playoffs on September the 5th?
I think you're going to see Beaver State Racing running really strong. I know my teammates are the oval specialists, and I just like to hang on to their coattails as much as I can, but they bring out great trucks every week. And, we're on these ovals, we're a force to be reckoned with. Those guys more so than me, but I know that going down in the stretch, as long as I can hang in it, they give me great trucks, and we could have all 4 of our guys in the Final 4, possibly.
And by the way, I mentioned September 5th, but my apologies. We're actually off on Labor Day Monday. Actually, it's August the 29th, so next Monday night will be the race for Darlington, but the Truck Series is taking off. They don't come back until September the 8th. But, man, what is your psyche, you feel, as you get ready to get a chance to race for a championship? I have no doubt that you're going to be one of the guys in the round of 12.
Yeah, I just, we got that one more road course race. I got the Roval circled on my calendar. I'm just gonna have to practice up there for sure, and I think that's my ticket to the next round. If I can punch out another W right there, I'm going on to the next round, and beyond that, I'm just taking it race by race. Like I said, those other guys are the oval guys. I got to work on my oval craft a little bit, but it's been coming around with their help. So.
Final question, and I want you to segue this into thanking your sponsors as well, Paul Newton. The battle between you and Ryan Bloom, obviously he's hungry. He's looking for a win. He's got a truck win this year at COTA for 1 win. But the battle between you and guys and you getting around him, having to make the move that you did in the inner loop.
Yeah, Ryan made it really wide, that's for sure. But he raced me tough, but he raced me fair. And I didn't know if I was going to have to make that pass or not. I didn't know if he had the fuel. I saw that. I know that he had so much pace earlier that the fact that I was even in the same ballpark with him must have meant he must have been saving a ton. So I knew if I was close, I had to make a move. I could not rely on hoping that he was going to run out of gas. I knew that I had been saving earlier in the run. I knew that I was probably good on gas, or at least could possibly coast across the line in second. So, yeah, I knew I had to go for it. I knew I had to give it a chance, and I spent that entire run just hanging onto his tailgate, just hoping that he was burning more gas than he wanted to burn. I didn't want him to get out to so much of a lead that he could just coast into the turns. So I really want to thank Ryan. He raced me really clean. He raced me really tough, but it was awesome to drive like that with a guy that I trust so much. And I also want to thank Tyler, because I couldn't practice at all this week, so Tyler handled the setup for us, and he picked us a good one. We tweaked it a little throughout the last couple hours of practice there. And I want to thank my sponsor, Paul Newton Designs, Peel's California Mandarins, and Beaver State Racing. And I want to thank the Northwest Racing Series and LSRTV for putting on these great races. Thanks, guys.
He'll pick up his 3rd win of the year. He moves to number 5 in the points as this final race settles in for the driver of Mr. Paul Newton, winner tonight at Watkins Glen. Let's go back to the S's and the inner loop. Great job tonight, Terry Radford, your take of tonight's event, and of course, Paul Newton getting the win.
Yeah, what an impressive win and what an impressive run for Paul Newton. And Paul, while you're still here, I'll take a chance at a question here. Many times you went through that bus stop, and, well, the bus stop wasn't really where I thought you were going to make the pass. What made you drive it in there and take it?
I think Ryan was just lifting a little bit coming out of turn 4, and I was always getting a really good run on him there, and he could hold me off everywhere else, so if I was going to make the move, it had to happen there. It's not where I wanted to make the move for sure, but that's where the door kind of slightly opened up and gave me a chance to slip through.
And also, whenever he was lifting quite a bit there, you talked about going through the S's and going into the bus stop, you would catch him rather quickly. But then he would throw a couple blocks on you. At any point in time during those blocks, did you think, oh man, I could easily send you through the grass here?
I did think that, but I didn't think it in a malicious way. It was more like, oh man, where's my breaking point? I'm way off my line. What am I doing here? A couple of times I locked up and I just about sent it into him, but I got lucky a few times and it all worked out.
Well, I will pass it on up to the man who was in the carousel going all the way down into turn number 6 and 7, Tim Moore.
Paul, of course, I mean, for you, by the way, were my pick here tonight in terms of guys that I was looking at practice to obviously go on and win. And for you, 3 wins is here. And we only have one race left before the playoffs. And, of course, that's Darlington. And while you've won at 3 road courses, I guess the big question is, obviously, you mentioned where you feel your ticket could be into the next round would be at the Roval. But what do you have to do going into the playoffs, to not just help continue the momentum that you got here tonight at Watkins Glen, but also help yourself at those oval tracks where you may not feel like you may have the best shot, but strategy-wise, you're in the mix here to race for a champion.
Yeah, I just gotta, keep practicing, and possibly just go off strategy. If I don't have the pace on those oval races, maybe just go off strategy, hope a caution comes out right when I need it, and all it takes is a fluke win, and I could go to the finals. And I got to keep that in mind, and I got to just, keep my spirits up, keep practicing, keep my nose to the grindstone, and hope it all works out.
All right, guys. Well, that's definitely going to do it for tonight. Thank you so much again. We had already done interviews. I don't know why we're asking the winners the same questions again, but anyhow, I just wanted to get you guys final analysis, but they're telling me we need to get off the air. Phenomenal job, as always, by Charles Wooten, everybody at Rocket Media, iRacing on LSRTV, simulcast of the Community Radio Network. The archives of these races will be up very, very soon. Phenomenal work, of course, for Terry Radford and Tim Moore calling the action, of course, in the S's, the inner loop of the carousel, all back around to turn 7 and the start-finish line here at the Glen. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage. We're back Monday night. The Cup cars at Darlington. The trucks will have a week off for Labor Day, and we come back on September the 8th. For everybody at the Northwest Racing Series, God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Labor Day to you. The trucks at Darlington should be exciting as one race determines the round of 12.